We say good morning to John Keim, covers the Commanders for ESPN and ESPN.com. Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
We are doing okay. So you tweeted this just about 20 minutes ago at John_Keim. The offense turned it over, but the D remains a major concern.
Right.
Took a big step back versus the run. DeAndre Swift, I think, is a pretty good player, but he looked super explosive against this defensive line and defense last night. That was kind of an eye-opener for me. They couldn't handle DeAndre Swift. How do they rectify that going forward?
Yeah, and I think the hard, or not the hard part, but before that game, they had been fairly solid against the run. Mm-hmm. Like not always great, but fairly solid. And that, you know, the Bears they killed them on the edges. A lot of that pin pull action, and it was bad. And so I think like there's still the parts that made it solid the first 5 games obviously are still there. But man, like they just haven't done anything to suggest that is it going to change as is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I totally agree. This is what I said, John. Jaden, you can pin this loss on him in many ways with the turnovers. You know, he owns it. It is what it is. He's a stud, but it happens. But so he lost us that game. The defense is going to lose us the season. They're going to be the ones that cost us whatever we do this year.
Yeah, and you know, like they had the turnover, and the one in the interception was an aggressive throw. It was not good. You don't have to give up a field goal drive after that. They had to go a long way. You know what I mean? Like. So, yeah, the turnovers killed them. My last one, like, you're still allowed to, in those sudden change, when you learn about, like, when defenses are really good, that's when you learn about them in those sudden change moments. And they failed each time. And so, yes, I agree. Like, Jaden Daniels will be fine. I don't worry about him. Worried. And the way he handles it is fine. And you're going to get guys back on offense at some point, I think. So they'll be fine. But, like, defensively, what are you going to pin? Like, they're not, you know, the Bears, here's the other, like the Bears do not have a good defense. They do get takeaways. You know, now one was a gift because the fumble exchange, but they get takeaways at least. So at least you're doing something. Mm-hmm. These guys they're not doing anything. They're, you know what I mean? And so like, that's the hard part. They're just there and they're not causing the 3 turnovers in 6 games. Mm-hmm. You know, not a lot last year. You know, that's a problem. So if you can't do one thing, you better do something, and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
With the Cowboys looming, now the Cowboys lose to a bad team. Their defense, Chiefs. Yeah, Cowboys, Chiefs, Seahawks, Lions next month. 4 straight against some pretty damn good offenses, and a couple of those are good defenses too. So. What do you think they can do? I mean, can they go out and trade for somebody before the deadline? I know did they sign Drake Jackson, who's had injuries? He was a 2nd-round pick for the Niners, but he didn't even play last year, I don't believe.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
And that's not a solution to
it's not.
Is going on with them now. Like, honestly, I don't know that there's a trade that you can make that you'd say, oh, okay, like now you go. I mean, short of Myles Garrett or someone like that, but you know, Myles Garrett not exactly helping the Browns right now. But
John, real quick, we kick this around amongst ourselves. If you could trade for a position on defense, what is the position?
Well, I mean, I'd always want a big time pass rusher, right?
So like still a pass rusher.
Yeah. I mean, that I think is always. But then I'd look for somebody that's a lot more impactful in the back end.
Because I think Wise wasn't necessarily a pass rusher, right?
He was an edge setter. Yeah, who could?
That's what I think they miss. I mean, you had Swift going to the outside and on several occasions.
Those pin pulls were really hurting them. So yeah, where they just pin the edge and pull a lineman. And so yes, like a solid defensive end would be fine, but I still think like they don't have anybody they need someone who can make some impactful plays and cause some problems in the back end too.
Mm-hmm. Why does it? Maybe it's just the nature of the position, but I feel like Payne's been flashing. But it's like Kinlaw sometimes flashes, but then sometimes I don't really notice him. You know what I mean? It's weird.
His run defense, and I have to go back and rewatch all that. I haven't been able to watch all that yet. But his run defense prior to last night was pretty good, and he had been pretty good before that. So, I felt like he was, in the past he was a lot more inconsistent with the Jets last year, with the Niners. I felt like he had reached a better level of consistency, but mostly in the run game than as a pass rusher. So, they haven't been able to generate more from that interior in the pass rush, but the run defense had been a strength.
Debo just didn't look right. I know he was a game time decision, and I'm sure the heel has something to do with that. He just didn't look right last night.
Correct. And that, you have to worry about that. Like, now Dan Quinn said the other day that this is not, it's like at some point it'll go away, but you wonder, like, how does that happen without rest? That would be the question, because it was, you're right. Like, he did not have that same level of explosiveness, understandably. I mean, he's kind of been a big part of that offense they need to get McLaurin and Brown back.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. And my concern is with McLaurin, what does it look like when he returns? I mean, he missed all of summer, and now you've missed 3 games. Like, it's not going to be get out there, and now you're, getting 70-yard passes every other play. You know what I mean? So I wonder how long that transition will take, but they need those guys back to, like, you watch the Bears. I mean, the Bears blitzed more last night than they have all year. And I think part of that is just, okay with what they were facing on the other end at receiver.
Does Bill have a ball security issue? I mean, certainly he's had one the last couple days, but was this something that dated him? Did I hear that this was something maybe in college he had something with it?
There was, I think, the one year there was something with that, but like there is, it's when you're going through the middle, man, and he spun back inside, and you're doing that, you've got to hold that ball tight, and that ball, just like last week, it was a little bit loose, and this time it was a little bit loose too. But yeah, no, that is something that has to be corrected, because last week it didn't hurt him. Tonight or last night it did.
Yeah. John, how were they bottling up Bill so effectively? I mean, Bill was supposed to have the performance that DeAndre Swift had last night.
No. That honestly, that's a good question. But I know, like, it's really, really hard to focus in on details during those night games. But like, as an example, on the one fumble, they just got whipped up front. It was, Tunsil lost his block, Wiley lost his block, and you got 2 guys sitting right in the gap, and he tries to spin, and there's more guys coming. So that was a big part of it, was just up front. I felt like they lost up front on both sides. And
I thought so too. We're talking to John Keim, ESPN.com insider. So on that front, Sam Cosmi should be ready to go next week, right? So Cosmi would slide in there for Wiley, and then you've got Paul with Tunsil, Biotic, Cosmi, Connerly. Is that right?
Yeah, and I don't know for sure if Cosmi's coming back this week or not, but he's obviously getting closer. They want to make sure that you can go in there and play a full game, not just play a full game, but play a full game at your level. And but regardless whether it's this week or next week, he'll be back. So.
Is it throughout there? I saw on one of these rogue websites, probably a bot website, not even real, that potentially a guy, it might be shocking, but a guy like Brandon Coleman could be a trade bait potentially if you needed something. Is that too rash?
Oh, I don't know. And what are you going to get for that?
What is it? But is he a former third round pick? Is that what he is?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah. So like you could get can you get a pick for him? Like, yeah, you could get a pick. The one thing I would say is I don't know that I would want to trade where you have especially an offensive line where you have depth. The other question with that would be, okay, you do that. Well, Chris Paul would be up for an extension. Would you rather hold on to Coleman and hope that he gets some durability because they did like him enough to start him. And when he plays,
right.
Like he certainly shows some things. But yeah, I that, but I would say this, like, if you have a guy, like where do you have depth and where do you have a guy that might be attractive to other teams? Well, he would be the guy. I just don't know that, do you really want to trade a young offensive lineman when what you want to build more than anything is line depth.
Right.
John, last night with Debo not looking right, and he only had 15 yards receiving, he clearly wasn't a factor. Jaden tried to throw it to some of the younger guys, but they only had one catch each, but they had long receptions.
Right.
Lane had a 37-yarder, McCaffrey had the 33-yard touchdown. Can they start targeting the kids a little bit more? Because Chris Moore was your leading receiver with 46 yards, and then Zach Ertz a bunch of dump offs from over the middle. But I would think, especially with Terry being out, Noah being out, I think you got to target the younger guys a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think then you have to look at, like, are they getting open? And are they getting open against man coverage, right? Like, because that's always the key. And I know there have been times where that wasn't the case. I don't know, again, like, you'd want to go back and see, okay, how often are they open? Are they, you would like to see them trying to get the ball more, whether it's by design or whatever. One thing I know about Jaden Daniels is that he's really good at trusting who he's throwing to. And not like, there were games last year, for example, everyone gets the ball to Terry. Well, there are times where, like, okay, that's not what's there, so I'm going to this guy because I trust this guy too. So if they're not getting it, you'd want to go back and see, how much of it is it that? Are they open? But I know, like, Jalen Lane has some speed. You'd want to use some of that if possible. We saw that on that play. And McCaffrey, definitely sometimes where it's like he's not open.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not, I can't put that on the quarterback.
Okay.
But again, then you'd have to watch every route they're running. By the way, going back to Corey, there were also times early in the game where they were running the more 7-man box, 7+ man boxes than they had previously too. So I think the Bears kind of knew, like, you've got to stop him and that's where it goes back to the receivers. I don't think that they were all that concerned or afraid of what might happen if they went one-on-one with them.
So the Bears just weren't afraid of the receiving threats.
It did not seem that. It didn't. Again, just first thought after last night is it did not seem that way. That, in other words, like, I don't think they felt like that's how they were going to lose. They knew they had to stop the run.
Right.
So the focus was on that. And sometimes you're getting packages too where you're going to load the box because it's a heavier run formation. And I think they got out of that a little bit. But sometimes that also draws those heavy boxes too.
John, we kicked this around. Cakes has been adamant for weeks that we got a kicking issue. I don't think it's reached critical mass yet. Do you?
I think. First of all, it seems like every kick he attempts is over 50 yards.
I know.
It's not really the case, but it certainly feels that way.
Well, certainly when he struggles. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. But, I'm not at the point where you're like, oh, you have to do something. I think you always, with kickers, you always have to be on guard for that, though, because it's a little slump can hurt you big time. But he did make 8 in a row before that miss last night.
Right.
And they were in optimum kicking conditions, but he did make them. And, he was 1 for 2 last night. And, like, yes, that one would have helped, but the blocked field goal for Chicago would have helped them. So, but yeah, no, I think I say for a while, I'd say, yeah, for sure they have that. And I think now it's like, okay, you held it off a little bit, but I'm not going to rest comfortable until I see it more.
How are you feeling about Sunday at Dallas? Dallas' defense is bad, but they can score. Yeah. They've got weapons everywhere. Division game. We're not calling it a must-win just yet, but it's a pretty big one.
I think we're pretty. Depending on what you want to do this year, it's getting pretty damn close to that. So
yeah.
This is a shootout. On paper, it looks like a shootout type game because that is a really bad defense.
Yep.
But when you watch Dallas play, like, they do things that will hurt this defense. We know that. So it will come down to, can they cause a turnover at some point, and can the offense play mistake-free? Because if they do, then we're talking about a game that whoever has the ball last is in good shape. Because I think Dallas's defense is really bad. But these guys have to play better. And you these explosive plays and the missed tackles, like that one against Swift was just brutal.
Yep.
John, thanks for the time as always. Go get some rest. We'll talk to you again next week, okay?
Thanks, guys.
Yep,
thanks,
it's John
buddy.
Keim, covers the Commanders for ESPN.com. He was on the Rude Guest Hotline. Rude, the most reliable heating and air conditioning products in the DMV. When we come back, we're going to get into this. Is Caleb Williams the better of the two quarterbacks between Caleb and Jaden Daniels this year for 2025? We'll comp the numbers. We'll put them side by side. Who's been the better quarterback, Caleb Williams for the Bears or Jaden Daniels for the Commanders? We'll do that next on The Fan.